to do something. We need to change something. We need to build something new. I don't think we can continue to go another 5 years the way we are, the way it is.
We know that the jail's deteriorated to the point that it's no longer safe for personnel or the inmates there. Yet the community is being asked to fund a $150 million project.
The first part of the question was the $150 million issue. We don't know how much the jail is going to cost because it hasn't been designed yet. The EIS had the $150 million figure in it, which all of us were surprised at, because what they had to do was try to anticipate what the worst case scenario was. And that dealt with an 864-bed, I think, jail on opening, which they estimated at the time the estimates came down, at $150 million. And I agree with you, that's a horrendous amount of money. We don't know what we're going to be asking you for. When we come back to you with a plan, then we're going to be able to tell you exactly how much it was.
The other thing that stuck in my mind over the last couple of days is that we had an information meeting, and one of the staff from the jail, came to that meeting and said, look, we just need, we need something to come through. We don't need to be slowed down, and we're so close now with this EIS, and let's just get this jail built. Well, I'm here to tell you tonight that this plan, which is the EIS, which has the 844 beds, which has the $150 million price tag, is moving forward, and it needs to be stopped. We need a new plan. It is irresponsible for us to unnecessarily slow down the process of getting this new jail built. And that's what this does. And you say, why does it do that? I'll tell you a couple very particular reasons. One, the cost. At $150 million, just like Wendy said, gadzooks, we don't have $150 million. It won't get built. Probably wouldn't get built for $120 either. Okay? So we need to start a new plan to look at something we can afford. This plan here is with 2 locations, and they're both wrong. The reason they're wrong is that these locations add millions upon millions of dollars for the jail to get built. Why? Because they have absolutely no infrastructure. There's no road, there's no power, there's no sewer.
And I can't think of a more excellent way to starve our community of on-the-street resources than to build this jail as presently planned. At this time, we cannot afford anything like $150 million or $100 million. And we cannot afford anything like upping our $8 or $9 million a year operation cost to something like $20 or $30 million. It's a non-starter. Just forget about it. There's two kinds of people in the room tonight, those who know this and admit it, and those who know it and don't admit it. But we just cannot afford this. Thank you.
The point that I wanted to make around this particular plan, and I hear what you're saying, Wendy, that clearly $150 million isn't going to work. But what backup plan does the county have for the budget crisis if the jail is not economically sustainable? I mean, we hear about, I didn't hear in we did come a little late, but I didn't hear in the presentation anything about what are you going to do with empty beds? I mean, there's been other jails that have had to close that were just built and that sort of thing. So I'd like to have some discussion of that.
But what bothers me the most about this new jail is the lack of transparency surrounding it. This meeting is the first time the public has had any input.
Not on wetlands. Thank you.
In July 2010, Whatcom County released the master plan for the new jail and sheriff's office. It outlines 3 phases. Phase 1, 844 beds, an additional 174 staff to be hired by the year 2015, at a total cost of $150 million to build with no estimate of the cost to run it. There is no mention of 600 beds. I want to be very clear about that. If it's in the draft environmental impact statement, please point that out to us. Eventually it would get to 2,450 beds. We would be doubling the rate at which we lock people up and then eventually tripling the rate at which we put people in jail. The trends across Washington State and across the U.S. are to reduce the number of people in jail.
The new plan for the the jail seems to me to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, and a downright sinister one, because every dollar in that overblown estimate is, and that's the initial construction and the maintenance of such a large facility, is a dollar that we're not spending on education, a dollar we're not spending on healthcare for those who need it, a dollar we're not spending on addiction treatment facilities and programs, a dollar we're not spending on the basic infrastructure of the county that keep us safe where we live and travel. It's a dollar that we're not investing in creating the community that we want to see in Whatcom County. And ladies and gentlemen, it's not just that this plans for a frightening future. It's that it helps create it.
That a central location for the new facility would greatly benefit our cities, simply because today it often takes between an hour and a half, up to 2 hours for the northern cities to take a prisoner into jail and to return to the city. During that time, there is no officer in many of those cities, in Sumas and Everson. And so the citizens have public safety at risk. There would be help only many minutes and many miles away.
You all work for us, not the other way around. You do what we give you a mandate to do. Some cases we elect you, some cases we just pay your salary, but you all work for us. And if someone comes to me and says, don't worry about the EIS, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, the real numbers are lower. That's a worst case scenario. We can't tell you what they are. We're not putting them in writing, but they're lower than the numbers we put in writing. First thing I do, I check my wallet to make sure it's still there, because somebody's trying to steal something from me. We're dealing with phantom numbers. That's not the way the law is. That's not what you're required to do. You are required to give us real, hard numbers in an EIS, and we respond and we object to those numbers, not to, don't worry, that's not really what it is. What am I supposed to do with that? This is our money you're doing this with. This is our priorities you're doing this with. You don't have our permission to do that. The only numbers we have are what are in the EIS. And what's in the EIS is a boondoggle. $150 million is almost the county budget for a year. $50 million to operate is almost a third of the county budget. I don't want a third of my county budget going to lock people up. And why is it you do this exhaustive search for land and you come up with the land belonging to a guy on the committee that sets up the sales tax to pay for the jail? What a coincidence!
Just for the record, I know that the gentleman that just spoke was referring to one of the property owners, Ralph Black. I was on the JLES committee. Mr. Black was not on the JLES committee in 2004.
It got a good applause, though.
And I think it's absolutely irresponsible of the county to be at this point and not knowing what this jail is going to cost. It's totally irresponsible.
And I have to say that the community petitioned the county with more than 70 emails and phone calls to get a public hearing on the EIS, and we were denied that opportunity. Instead, we have this public meeting, which as far as I know, is not an official public hearing that's being admitted into the record for the EIS, and if you would like to address that afterwards, I'd love that.
Sure.
So what I'm asking for is to build the public trust. From this point forward, this is an opportunity to start a really fantastic dialogue with the community and to continue to have meetings like this, because it's obvious that people are very concerned and very interested in this process. And I'm hoping that this will indeed be the first of many public meetings as we move forward on this process.
Yes, this meeting tonight is part of the record for the EIS. So, Tyler?
Under state law, it allows, yeah, excuse me. Under state law, it allows public meetings, as in this one, to be used for the public hearing requirements through the EIS process.
Even though it was not announced in that way as far as being a public hearing officially for the EIS process?
What it is it does indicate that public meetings that are held under the Open Meeting Act can be used as that public hearing. And it was described for this meeting to have a discussion, a community dialogue for the jail facility, and also be used in relation to the EIS.
I mean, we're trying the best we can to, we really are. I know that there's a lot of distrust out there, but we really are sincere and genuine in trying. Look, ultimately, we're not going to get a jail if the community doesn't have buy-in.
In case you don't know, 64% of our county budget already goes to law enforcement and the justice system. That's $1 million a week. I don't know where the other $50 million is going to come from. I know on my retirement income, it's not coming from me.
We have to look at the other sites again. We can't afford $150 million. Even Sheriff Elfo stated that we cannot build our way out of crime. And it feels like with this document, that's what we're doing. The fact that phase 1 is simply 844 beds, phase 3 is 2,450 beds. And we understand that's not what you want, but it's what it states, and that's all the information that we have to work with.
We've got a mess, and I'll tell you what, I would not want to be sitting in any one of your seats right now because you guys have a responsibility to do what's right for the people of this county. I also would not want to be sitting in any one of your seats right now if we put the jail in as per that EIS statement, because $150 million is not affordable.
Being in real estate, I can tell you, if anyone came to me and said, I'd like to buy a house near a jail, that would be a first.
I have been flabbergasted at the quality of people that work for Bill Elfo and Wendy Jones. I am worried that if we don't move quickly as a community to get these people a safe facility, we're going to lose some of the talent that currently exists there. And the other thing I want to say, Executive Kryman, this is time to lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Time.
And then when the next draft came out, we were said, oh, we're not going to have a public hearing because we gave you additional time to make your comments. That is unacceptable, and that is written in that draft EIS. Am I not stating a fact? Okay. So that's why those of us here tonight have worked so hard to get your attention about having a public hearing, finding out it's actually a public meeting, and really misunderstanding about what our purpose is here tonight.
If this document right here is not reflective of the proposed jail, why have we spent over $750,000 on it already?
Here's the process. We make a decision on the site, we buy the site, we begin the design work, then we figure out how we're going to pay for it, then we begin construction. Well, I'm sorry. That's backwards. The first thing has to be figured out is how it's going to be paid for and what the continuing requirement of cost is going to be on the county taxpayers. My taxes went up 40% last year, okay? They better not go up very much soon. Thank you.
This environmental impact statement would cause me to say, I'm going to choose the no alternative, not support a jail. Now, I know that we need a jail, but the information in there is not adequate to support this location as proposed in that environmental impact statement. So I'd ask you to possibly even withdraw the environmental impact statement and consider other alternatives.